There I was, standing beneath the ancient boughs of an expansive oak, heart pounding against my chest like a tribal drum of war. The cold fingers of worry clenched around my thoughts. The looming deadline at work, the incessant carousel of household chores, and the echoing questions about my future. It all coalesced into a fierce storm of stress that blotted out the sun of my serenity. I was marooned in a sea of time where the past and future crashed against me in relentless wave, each thrashing promise of what could go wrong, a chilling reminder of my fragility, and yet, in that moment of overwhelming tension, as I rooted myself beneath the gentle sway of that oak, something remarkable occurred. A leaf detached from its branch, pirouetted gracefully on an invisible stage of air down to my feet. Enthralled by its simple dance, my breath hitched, and an unparalleled clarity washed over me. All the deadlines, chores, and fears fell silent. As the leaf's journey whispered an ancient truth, this moment, this infinitely small and significant moment, was life. The rumbling of my heartbeat eased back into the lullaby that fortified my body. My exhalation became a bridge to the now. The tree, the leaf, and I were entwined in a timeless symphony. And the worries that once loomed so large became distant echoes, drowned out by the orchestra of the present. It was more than just a temporary reprieve. It was as if I had rediscovered a hidden superpower, long forgotten and lying dormant within the chambers of my being. The transformative power of the present moment. In embracing the now, stress did not just fade. It dissipated like morning fog beneath the radiance of a rising sun. In this simple yet profound act of connection with the present moment, there was a release, an unveiling of life's inherent tranquility. A lesson was etched into my heart that day. When one steps into the power of now, the shackles of stress are not just loosened, they are shattered. The present moment, the now, is both the simplest and the most profound concept that seems to evade our constant, bustling thoughts. Philosophers speak of it, poets write of it, and sages sit in silence to experience it, all expressing in myriad ways the timeless wisdom that essence of existence is embedded in the immediacy of the now. Spiritual teachers throughout history have emphasized the now as the doorway to a life of presence and awareness. Eckhart Tolle, a venerable voice in the spiritual world, orchestrates the philosophy of the power of now as a framework for transcending the mental constructs of past and future, which so often become battlegrounds for our anxieties. In the now, there is a cessation of time as we ordinarily understand it, a space that is both empty and exquisitely full, devoid of the stories we tell ourselves about who we are and what is supposed to be. It is an experience of consciousness unfettered by the chronological chains that bind us to the clock and calendar. Psychologists also herald the now as an essential element of mental health. The field of psychology has begun to weave this spiritual insight into its practices through the integration of mindfulness-based techniques. Such methods revolve around bringing one's attention to experiences occurring in the present moment without judgment. This practice nurtures a form of mental discipline that can break the stranglehold of stress. Mindfulness, a secular adaptation of ancient meditative practices, is now empirically validated to reduce symptoms of stress and anxiety, illuminating the deep connection between a present focus and psychological well-being. Science and spirituality collectively propose that the power of now has a direct impact on the body's stress response. Being anchored in the present moment has been shown to lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and enhance the production of endorphins, those chemical couriers of pleasure and pain relief. From a neurological perspective, engaging in the now can actually change the brain's structure and function over time, strengthening areas associated with attention and sensory processing. Frequent travelers in time, those caught in the tumult of past regrets and future fears, show heightened activity in the brain regions linked to anxiety. Hence, by inhabiting the now, we can physiologically dismantle the architecture of stress piece by piece. The philosophy underlying the power of now also points to presence as a core element of human consciousness, an aspect often dulled by the pace and pressure of modern living, yet when stirred and nurtured, presence can awaken us to the richness of simply being alive, to the intricate marvel of reality unfolding one moment at a time. As we begin to perceive life through the lens of the now, each experience is greeted with a fresh perspective, uncontaminated by the shadows of what once was or the echoes of what might yet be. This liberating vantage point transforms the very essence of stress, offering it not as a foe to be conquered, but as a teacher guiding us back to the immediacy of our experiences. In this way, the power of now is not merely an abstract to be understood. It is an antidote to be lived, a potent medicine for a society intoxicated by the relentless pace of time. When mastered and woven into the fabric of our daily existence, it reveals the paradox that by focusing on the present, we are not withdrawing from the world, but rather engaging with it more fully, more authentically, and with a greater sense of peace. Delving deeper into the anatomy of stress, it becomes clear that it is not merely a mental or emotional inconvenience. Stress is a visceral, physiological reality that manifests within our bodies. When we perceive a threat, be it physical danger or a psychological one such as fear of failure, our sympathetic nervous system springs into action. Adrenaline courses through our veins, our heart rate escalates, and cortisol, the infamous stress hormone, floods our system, preparing us for the age-old survival tactic, fight or flight. In the modern world, however, the threats we face are seldom the kind that require this kind of physical response. Instead, our stressors are more often conceptual, the looming deadlines, the pressing social commitments, the unrelenting standards we set for ourselves. Here lies the insidious trap of stress. Our body doesn't distinguish between the stress of being chased by a predator and the stress of completing a project at work. Our propensity to slip into mental time travel, rehashing past events with regret, or projecting into the future with worry, only exacerbates this stress response. The mind, being a superb time machine, can whisk us away to a distant past, where memories of previous failures or embarrassments linger, which in turn can trigger a stress response as if those events were occurring in the immediate now. Similarly, when thrusting forward, anticipating the myriad of what-ifs and potential catastrophes, our body continues to react as though these scenarios were imminent threats to our survival. This chronic stress, perpetuated by our mental excursions, can have debilitating effects on our health. It is a contributing factor in numerous conditions, from heart disease to depression. Research has shown that individuals who engage frequently in rumination or worry are more likely to suffer from higher levels of stress and related disorders. Their focus on a time other than the present is not only a psychological burden, but one manifested in physiological terms, with all the attendant symptoms and long-term health implications. Contrasting this is the state of tranquility achieved through immersion in the present moment. Mindfulness practices, which anchor us in the now, have been associated with reduced activity in the default mode network, DMN, the brain network active during self-referential thoughts, including those about the past or future. When individuals engage in present-focused practices, the DMN quiets down, which corresponds with a decrease in stress-linked symptoms. Studies using functional MRI scans have illuminated how mindfulness meditators exhibit altered brain function and structure in areas associated with attention, emotion regulation, and self-awareness. Neuroscientists have identified that these changes in the brain correlate with lower stress levels. People who engage in a consistent mindfulness practice report a more balanced emotional state, better sleep patterns, and an overall improved quality of life. In the tranquility of the present, the past no longer has the power to invoke guilt or regret, and the future loses its ability to instill fear and apprehension. In their place rises a soothing wave of peace, a sense of being grounded and connected, which all the while had been waiting beneath the tumultuous surface of psychological time. The now then emerges not just as a philosopher's muse or a poet's dream, but as a potent vessel of healing, carrying us forward on a calm sea, away from the tempest of stress and into the serene embrace of life as it truly is. Mindfulness meditation stands as a cornerstone in the art of embracing the present moment. To begin this practice, one finds a quiet sanctuary, perhaps under the shade of an old tree or within the comfort of a cherished nook, where distractions are far removed. There, seated or reclined comfortably, the individual sets a timer for several minutes to create a defined space for this practice. With eyes closed, they allow themselves to turn inward, a subtle invitation to disengage from the external and tune into the internal rhythm of being. The breath becomes the guide. Each inhale, a gentle ascent into awareness. Each exhale, a soft descent towards peace. As thoughts surface, as they are known to do, they are met not with resistance, but acknowledgement. Regarded as passing clouds in an expansive sky before attention is ushered back to the act of breathing. The cadence of inhales and exhales becomes a mantra, a repetitive anchor drawing the practitioner into the immediacy of the present moment, dissolving stress with each cycle of breath. Breathwork, another nurturing technique, offers its own passage to the present. It begins with the adoption of an open stance, a physical reflection of the mental openness required. The 4-7-8 breathing technique serves as a metronome for the nervous system, inhaling through the nose for 4 counts, holding for 7, and exhaling through the mouth for 8. As an individual engages with this technique, each round of breathwork ushers them deeper into the now, and each exhale serves as a gust, scattering the leaves of stress and worry to reveal the solid ground of the current moment. Grounding exercises offer yet another avenue into the realm of the now, encouraging a multisensory engagement with the immediate environment. This practice begins with the deliberate observation of the immediate surroundings, employing the senses in a methodical countdown, noting 5 things visible in the space around, touching and feeling the textures of 4 objects, tuning into 3 distinct sounds that puncture the silence, acknowledging the presence of 2 scents that flavor the air, and finally, discerning 1 taste that lingers on the palate. This sequential focus fosters a deep connection to the here and now, drawing the mind away from the abstract and grounding it in the sensory reality of the present. For a more physical embodiment of grounding, standing barefoot upon the earth provides a tactile connection to the here and now, allowing one to literally feel the supportive foundation of the now beneath them. A walk in nature too can serve as a grounding journey, where each step is an encounter with the present, and every observed detail, from the veins in a leaf to the ripple of a stream, affirms life's current page, written in the language of the immediate. When one regularly weaves these practices, mindfulness meditation, breathwork and grounding exercises, into the weft of their daily life, the perpetual shadow of stress begins to lift. In its stead, the vibrant luminosity of the present moment shines through, gently asserting that engagement with the now requires not a Herculean effort, but rather a series of small, deliberate steps guided by breath, grounded in sensation, and steeped in the power of now. The power of now, while articulated in various idioms and expressed through different practices, is a golden thread woven into the rich tapestry of the world's wisdom traditions. Each culture, in its unique voice, echoes the timeless truth that peace and equilibrium are found in the embrace of the present moment. In Zen Buddhism, there is a poignant teaching that encapsulates the essence of the now. When you walk, walk. When you eat, eat. This simple proverb underscores a profound practice. Every action devoid of distraction is an encounter with the present. Zen meditation, or Zazen, encourages a bare attention to the immediacy of experience. Amidst the stillness of sitting, the Zen practitioner becomes a silent witness to the ebb and flow of thoughts and sensations without entanglement, returning again and again to the present with each mindful breath. Sufism, the mystical heart of Islam, spins the delicate poetry of presence through the whirling of dervishes. Their dance is a meditation in motion, a physical manifestation of the profound Sufi truth, that in the eye of the whirlpool, the core still point, lies a serene indwelling with the divine. The practice of dhikr, the remembrance of God, transports the Sufi to a state of divine contemplation, one wherein time collapses and the only moment that exists is the one in which they are chanting. Both whirling and chanting become acts of profound presence, drawing the Sufi into an enfolding sense of the eternal now. Indigenous spiritual practices across the globe reverence the present moment as a sanctuary of connection to the sacred web of life. For the indigenous soul, now is an extension of the earth's rhythm, the heartbeat of nature, palpable in the rustling leaves, the murmuring rivers and the whispering winds. Shamanic traditions engage with the moment through rituals and ceremonies that revitalize one's relationship with the living, breathing world. These acts of presence are simultaneously a communion with ancestors, spirits, and the greater cosmos, an expansive view of now that extends beyond the individual to include the collective rhythm of all life. Each of these traditions, though adorned in their distinctive cultural garments, invites an alchemy of transformation through the act of being wholly present. Despite the diversity of practices, the essence remains constant. Within the now, there is a reverent stillness, a space unmarred by the chronicles of yesteryears or the projections of tomorrow. It is this universal wisdom that affirms the present moment as a wellspring of inner peace, a realm of equilibrium where the soul can pause, breathe, and simply be. The philosophies and practices of these wisdom traditions offer a common counsel, that to seek harmony, we must anchor ourselves in the present. In this anchoring, we are reminded that life's beauty and depth are revealed not in the distant reaches of time, but in the intimate presence of each unfolding moment. The now, then, as celebrated by these traditions, is both the journey and the destination, the simple breath and the path to oneness, a state of being that is accessible to each of us always in the here and now. In our exploration today, we've uncovered that the axis of stress is often found in our mind's compulsive journey through time. A relentless shuttle between the stirred memories of the past and the anticipatory echoes of the future. Yet, amidst this ceaseless motion, we've discovered a sanctuary of quietude in the power of the present moment, the now, where stress dissolves like mist under the morning sun. We've ventured into the physiological labyrinth of stress, understanding how our body's primal responses to danger are enkindled by temporal preoccupations, contributing to a myriad of modern maladies. However, by anchoring ourselves in the now, we quiet the mind's chatter and disarm the body's alarms, heralding a new state of corporeal and spiritual tranquility. Techniques such as mindfulness meditation, breathwork, and grounding exercises emerged as gentle tools to transport us to the present moment. Each breath, a stepping stone, each sensory engagement, a homecoming. These practices aren't complex rituals reserved for the seasoned seeker, but accessible steps we can all integrate into the everyday ebb and flow of life. Turning our gaze to the wisdom traditions of the world, we were reminded that the power of now is not a novel concept, but a shared heritage, an insight of our interconnectedness. Whether cloaked in the silence of Zen, the poetic whirl of the dervish, or the earthbound rituals of indigenous cultures, the now remains a universal key to inner peace, balance, and unity with the essence of all life. And so, the invitation is extended to you to embrace the now with open arms and an open heart. Let the present moment be your guide and teacher, assuaging the anxieties that seek to overtake you. Practice the techniques shared, weave them into the fabric of your days, and witness the unfolding of a calmer, more centered self. In your journey of self-discovery, the next steps await you. We encourage you to delve further into the sanctity of the present moment, to continue to unlock its restorative promises. Your path is ever unfolding, and the Sage Snippets community is here to journey alongside you. As you navigate this odyssey, remember to breathe, to center, and to be right here, right now. And if you've found solace and insight in our shared quest today, consider embracing the extended sanctuary of our community. Like to affirm the journey. Subscribe to nurture the path ahead and continue your quest for understanding with Sage Snippets. For in recognizing the monumental power of the simple present moment, we open ourselves to the wonder, the healing, and the vast potential that lies within the now.